Welcome everybody to tonight's free coaching session with Teacher's Pet and Coach Matt. Welcome to this amazing session, and we are going to take a look at companies getting what to do after you get hired. So many companies employ teachers, and then you have to get started. So most of the companies don't provide training, stuff like that. So we kind of help teachers to show them what to do, push them in the right direction so that you're not completely lost when you actually get hired by a company, because experience is key. So I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever you apply to a company, you will see there 6 months experience needed, 1 year experience needed. This is to show that you know at least the basics of what to do. You know that there's a payment structure, you know about whys, you know about those types of things, so that they don't have to train you. They simply don't have the manpower, or they don't care. That's why they ask for the experience. So we try and help teachers gain this experience with these free coaching sessions. Guys, so we've got a bunch of teachers here tonight who want to advance their skills, learn a little bit more. So as you can see on the screen in front of you, that is the Teacher's Pet Practicum course, currently on a raffle as well, so that you can enter so that you can win this amazing prize simply by buying one ticket and then entering the competition. Okay, wonderful. So Coach Matt, whenever you are ready, you can take us to skipping through. So whenever you're ready, you can get started and get this meeting on the road.
Fantastic, fantastic, and welcome here. You know, um, Chris and I really appreciate you guys being here. We wouldn't be doing it if you guys weren't here. And as I mentioned earlier, before we hit the recording, at the end of the day, Chris and I made a lot of mistakes, and especially me. I messed up a lot of things, and I only discovered 2 years into my online teaching what this was all about. So what we do here is we stand for your greatness, and this is not something that we offer it for free. Is because we want you to have confidence. We want you to have knowledge. We want you to walk in prepared. We want you to actually enjoy the experience of being an online teacher. I only learned that 2, 3 years in. I only really started enjoying myself when I knew what was going on. So we stand for your greatness. And if anything we can do, obviously we'll advertise, but we've got a raffle going. I mean, I think the last time I had a raffle when I was like 12 years old and I went to the church bazaar, you put that 5 rand in there to win like 100 rand prize. But the course we're offering you, the practicum, as you can see in front of you, is a step-by-step guide to helping you guys be great teachers. And I think tonight's free coaching, why we did this, is because Christian and I had a massive conversation of the journey to being hired is so crazy, from resumes, intro videos, cover letters, applications, demo lessons. But very few teachers know what happens after you get hired. I mean, what we're going to speak about this evening is going to be close to my heart because it's two companies that I worked for in the beginning that almost destroyed my teaching career because I never understood what it was about. So, what we're going to look at tonight is what happens after you get hired. What choices do you make? What decisions do you make? How do you move along the right path? How do you get paid? All those kind of questions. So, like I said, I was so happy to get hired that I just jumped head first and I just went absolutely crazy. And I kind of wish I knew what I knew now, because what we're going to look at this evening is two companies. And yes, I'm going to mention their names because I have worked for both of them. So there's fixed companies versus freelance companies. Now, when I started out my teaching career, I worked for Magic Ears, which is a young learners company and it's very well known as a fixed company. Then, obviously, over the years or so teaching for them, I reckoned, okay, well, maybe young learners wasn't for me. And I got hired by a company called Amazing Talker, which was a freelance company. Now, I didn't know what the difference was. I had no idea what the difference was. And I was here, and Amazing Talker kind of threw me in the deep end. And I was lost. And like I said, after working for these two companies, I nearly gave up. So the first thing to understand is when looking at a company and when being hired by a company, you have to understand that you get fixed companies versus freelance companies. So let's look at what we call a business model. What makes a fixed company different from a freelance company? So let's take Magic Ears. Now, Magic Ears is a traditional ESL company. They recruit teachers to deliver lessons following their curriculum structure and platform. The company controls many aspects of the teaching process, including lesson plans, student bookings, class content. You are employed or contracted to teach on their terms. What does that mean? That means when I was hired by Magic Ears, they gave me a schedule. I booked my lessons. I had a platform. They gave me the curriculum. They provided me with the students. They gave me with the forms that I had to fill in for the feedback, which we'll cover a bit later on. They gave me everything. I literally had to prepare nothing. I had to just, the day before I taught, just log in, check my lessons. Like the material was there, the students were there, the bookings were there, the feedback forms were there. They gave me everything. Then moving over to Amazing Talker, which back in the day was an original adults, learning, but they do young learners. Now, Amazing Talker was a freelance platform. Now, Amazing Talker is a freelance platform where teachers are more independent. You set up your profile, um, offer your own teaching services, and manage your own business on the platform. You can create custom lesson plans, set your own prices, choose your own schedule. It's similar to running your own business, but using obviously Amazing Talker as the platform to find students. Now that I was lost like you cannot believe, because now when I got the job at Amazing Talker, I had to market myself. I had to create my own lessons. I had to reply and message on their services. I had to market myself. Here I went from Magic Ears, which gave me everything, to Amazing Talker, where I had to do everything. Basically, all they provided me with was a market base of students. Market myself, create my own lessons, do my own schedules, create my pricing, create my plans. I had to deal with students, and it was a complete shocker. So always remember, and this is why we started this training off in this way, because you have to understand what a fixed company is and what a freelance company is. Some companies are going to pay you X amount of dollars per hour and they're going to provide you with everything, Magic Ears, or you're going to work for a freelance company, Amazing Talker, which is going to really, all they do is provide you with a database of students. The rest is up to you. So now you come down to a point and you go, but what is the curriculum and what are my lesson plans? Who am I teaching? Let's have a look at Magic Ears. Magic Ears offers a structured, pre designed curriculum. As a teacher, you are expected to follow the provided lessons without the need to create new content. This model is ideal for teachers who prefer not to spend time planning lessons. Amazing Talker. You design your own curriculum or lessons based on student needs. It offers flexibility, but requires you to prepare teaching materials and customize lessons for different students. This model suits teachers who enjoy the freedom to design their own courses or teach specific skills. So here I was a complete newbie. I fell in love with the TEFL adverts, those girls and guys sitting on a beach with their laptop and palm trees and earning dollars. But Magic Ears gave me everything that I needed. I did not have to do anything. I literally logged in the day before, did what I needed to do, and there it goes. Then working for Amazing Talker, had my first student reach out. Now I had to design lessons, feedbacks, classroom. I was thrown in the deep end. Then I got a message at 2 o'clock in the morning, and oh, this teacher already responded. You've lost your student. I was marketing myself. So the most important thing that any new ESL teacher needs to know is that you're going to apply to companies, but you have to understand they are fixed versus freelance. We've spoken a lot in the course about finding the niche, finding who you want to teach, meaning young learners, adults, teenagers. But companies within themselves are also fixed and freelance. You have Amazing Talker, Preply, Cambly, you have Magic Ears, you've got BG in English, you've got I can't remember offhand now. So you always have to understand how prepared are you. So now you get hired by this company. If you can understand if this is a fixed company, great stuff. If this is a freelance company, great stuff. How ready are you? How prepared are you to take on Amazing Talker, which is freelance? Or, hey, I'm a newbie. I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's work for a fixed company who provides me everything that I need. Okay, so the first step is you've passed the demo and everything to getting hired is understanding which company you are working for. Because at the end of the day, you don't really want to get involved in something where you have no idea what you're doing. Because Amazing Talker, which is freelance, is not going to back you up. If you're going to get bad reviews, or you're not going to be prepared, or you're going to lose students, Amazing Talker is not going to back you up. They actually, at the end of the day, wanted you to step up and be the teacher. Whereas Magic Ears will say, hey, we'll cut a couple of your bookings, we'll bring you back, we'll train you. What are you needing help with? Okay, so the utmost important thing is to remember the difference between these two companies. So let's step in now, knowing the difference between the two companies, knowing there's a fixed company and there's a freelance company. Let's talk about the schedule. Now, before I read anything, the biggest mistake I ever made, and I think I nearly committed myself into a psychiatric ward, I nearly lost my mind, was when I got hired, I was so eager to teach that I made myself available from Monday to Sunday, 9 to 5. I literally opened every slot that I could open because obviously I saw the palm trees, I saw the sitting on a beach, I saw dollar signs in my eyes. And when it came to a point where I almost reached my burnout, I was, I think, 8 months into teaching and I hadn't had 5 minutes to call my soul my own. And I wanted to change my schedule. The company said to me, you have to give 3 months in advance. You can't just. So let's talk about a schedule, fixed versus flexible. Some companies offer fixed schedules where you commit to certain hours each week, while others let you set your availability and students book as they wish. Okay, so always ask yourself the question, and we offer this in the course, and we've got quite a few webinars on this in terms of peak hours availability and asking yourself, how much do I want to earn? And how many hours a week am I willing to teach? Okay. So always when you get hired, the first thing they're going to offer you is a schedule, a calendar, book your availability. Think ahead. Allow yourself time to breathe. Because when I was teaching Magic Ears and I booked 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock South African time, I only had 2 minutes between lessons. So I taught literally from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. How do I put this politely? I should have had a catheter because I didn't even have time to make a cup of coffee. I didn't even have time to get up and go to the bathroom. When a lesson was running longer than what it should, I was literally going 1 minute into the next classroom. And I was teaching that 7 days a week to a point where I burnt myself out completely. So schedule always remember, you're going to have to allow yourself time to be human. You're going to have to allow yourself time to be a day off, a rest. I mean, yes, it's dollars. Yes, it's a side income. Yes, you paid per hour, but it's not worth burning yourself out. Because at the end of the day, the next point is peak hours. Many companies focus on students in certain region, China, Japan. So peak hours may be early mornings, evenings, or weekends, depending on the time zone. Okay. So always make sure that if you are amped to earn these dollars, if you really, really are amped, focus on the peak hours. Focus on where you are going to make your money. Okay. Focus on, hey, I can only teach 5 hours a day. I can only teach 4 hours a day. I can only work 6 days a week, 5 days a week, 4 days a week. It's part time, it's full time, and everything. Although you are paid by hour, remember, you are not Superman. You are not Superman. And at the end of the day, your energy and your health and your mental frame of mind is much more important than earning money. And I'm going to go back to what Krista and myself in Teachers Pet spoke about. When you are teaching, your energy level has to be the same from beginning to end. So you can only imagine if you're teaching 9 to 5, how awesome your energy is at 9 o'clock and how, yeah, pretty much I think you're going to hit a tequila or a Red Bull, or you're going to just knock a bottle back because your energy has absolutely ducked and dived. Then you wake up the next morning exhausted because now you finished teaching at 5, you had 4 hours of feedback, 2 hours sleep, wake up, rinse and repeat. You're not going to make it. And I say this honestly from me to you, I didn't make it. 8 months, I was done. I was ready to go mop floors, then carry on teaching because I'd burnt myself out. So always remember your schedule. Look at the peak hours. This is where you're going to make the money. And always, whenever you sign the contract or what any company's going to say to you, have a look at what their minimum hours are. Some companies require a minimum number of teaching hours, while others might be more flexible. So, same with Magic Ears. If I didn't teach, I think Magic Ears back in the day was you had to give 2 hours a day. That was their minimum. 2 hours a day, okay, I can pretty much do that. So when you get hired by a company, understand it's either a fixed company who's going to provide you with everything, or it's a freelance company who's going to require you to do everything. And when looking at your schedule, don't burn yourself out. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Give yourself time to grow, to extend. You can always add to your schedule, but you can never subtract. Simple as that. You can always add more hours as you grow, but you can never ever cancel lessons or go back and do less hours. Once you're in there, you are in. Okay. Now let's look at some of the things that really take up the time. Now you've got this schedule, you've worked it out, you've got your days off, you've skipped a 25-minute block, so you have a half an hour rest during the day. Let's look at your lesson planning. Now, if you look at Magic Ears, it's a pre-made curriculum. Many companies provide a curriculum or lesson plans that you will follow. You typically review and prepare the lesson before the class, but you won't need to create it. Magic Ears. So I taught on a Monday. I worked out my schedule well, as what I previously spoke about. And then about an hour before I went to bed on a Monday night, I opened up my Tuesday schedule. I saw my classes. I went through them. I reviewed them. Great stuff, ready to go. Sleep tight. Then you got Amazing Talker, which was custom lessons. In some cases, especially with more advanced students in private companies, you may be asked to design lessons based on a student's needs. So now here I'm saying, okay, well, great stuff. Now I need to design a lesson. Now, a student on Amazing Talker reaches out to me and says, Matt, I want to learn conversational English based on travel. Now you're stuck in a bit of a predicament here, because every adult learner who's doing business English, conversational English, they have such unique needs that if you meet them on the Friday and you chat to them and they book 10 lessons with you, you literally have the weekend going into Monday to prepare lessons specifically for them. Not pre-made, not I've got a lesson, I can use this again, specifically made for them. So now you start seeing that if I'm being, and this is just an example, if I'm being paid $8 an hour by Magic Ears, the amount of work I have to do is 10%. If I'm being paid $8 an hour by Amazing Talker, I'm working, I'm creating lessons, I'm marketing. So be very, very, very clear on the company and the schedule that you're working with. Then lesson types. You know, I was when I was sorry, I'm laughing at this. It just brings back such memories of how I really absolutely was possibly the worst online English teacher in my first 2 or 3 years. Is that I was not prepared for the amount of students in the class. So I thought, okay, Magic Ears, here we come. I'm going to have a one-on-one, and here I hit my first lesson, and there's six young A2 level learners screaming, shouting, performing. I logged in and I nearly sang Justin Timberlake Cry Me a River when this happened. What do I do now? So you have to understand that your lesson types working for these companies, they might be one-on-one or small groups or lessons typically for 26 to 60 minutes. Now, Magic Ears was 25-minute lessons. I could repeatedly sing Justin Timberlake Cry Me a River for 25 minutes, but when I hit Amazing Talker and I had my first hour, 60 minutes, I looked at this and I was like, how do you teach for 60 minutes? I can't even watch series. I can't even watch a series episode that lasts longer than 45 minutes. My attention span. So always remember that you've got your schedule, you've got your lesson planning, you've got your class, but you always have to understand that this could be 25 to 60 minutes. Okay. So this is what happens after you get hired. You're like, is this a fixed company? Is this a freelance company? How much am I willing to teach? What is my schedule? How many lessons am I planning? Who am I teaching? It's all part of being prepared. Okay. Then the next thing, and I was absolutely devastated by the payment structure. Look, the dollars we're giving you here, they fluctuate from company to company. They always will. But the most important thing to remember, and let me add my 60 cents here. So when I worked for Magic Ears and Amazing Talker, firstly, let's start with Magic Ears. They would only pay you after you've worked the first full calendar month, meaning I got hired by Magic Ears on the 3rd of February. So I taught from February to the end of February. They didn't pay me because it wasn't a full calendar month. So I had to work the whole of March. So I waited almost 2 months to be able to get paid. Okay. Amazing Talker says, okay, great. You charge your own rates and everything, but you can only withdraw the dollars once you reach a certain amount. I think back in the day it was $100. So I could have a month where I only had like 2 lessons and I got paid $70. I cannot withdraw that $70 until I'd accumulated $100. So you must always know payment is often made per class or per hour, and this varies from company to company. Some companies, like you say, will pay you per class, per hour, per week, per month. make sure you understand how they pay you. Now, working for both Magic Ears and Amazing Talker, they had amazing bonuses. So you kind of look at this and go, I'm only earning, let's say, the minimal, which is $8 an hour. But they had such awesome bonuses. So many companies offer incentives or bonuses for things like student feedback during teaching during peak hours or referring new teachers. So depending on your performance, if like with Magic Ears, if I completed a full month of teaching without missing a class, I got an extra $10. If I maintain my teacher review, which we will get back to now, and I had 4 stars over the whole month, I'll get another $5. Amazing Talker worked exactly the same. Student reviews, feedbacks. So always remember, it's not just your hourly rate, it is performance bonuses, because at the end of the day, what every company is looking for, whether it's a fixed company or whether it's a freelance company, they are looking at having teachers who are committed. They want you to put that effort in. Going back to schedule, do not overexert yourself. Do not burn yourself out. Make sure that you can maintain your energy and teach, because at the end of the day, and I'm say this in pure truth, sometimes my bonuses outweighed my hourly rate. So I could have taught $600 worth of lessons for that month, but my bonuses were $800. And that made all the difference in the world. So I'm going to go back again, say schedule, be careful. Be careful when you're scheduling. Make sure that you are capable. You give yourself a little bit of time off. You give yourself that rest. You give yourself that gap in between lessons, because the energy you are going to give is going to work back to your bonuses. That is a key point. When I finally found my balance, when I finally found that I taught Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I gave myself at least 30 minutes between each lesson. I made more money in bonuses than teaching Monday to Sunday, 9 to 5, and burning myself out. Okay. Then we're going to look at cancellation policies. And the reason I bring this up is because Coach Matt's having a good laugh again, because let me think back. Obviously, my memory, as you can see, the gray in my beard and everything, memory has lost me. When I had my Monday to Sunday 9 to 5, I was so burnt out. I was so tired that I ended up missing classes or not arriving for them or trying to cancel them. The penalty that I paid for that, I think it was my 4th month in Magic Ears, I owed them money, because I was earning $8 an hour. Now, in an hour, there's 4 25-minute classes in an hour. If I missed one, I got a $20 fine. So when I got a $20 fine, it meant I had to teach 5 classes to make up that penalty. So be careful about cancellation and missing classes. Check the company's cancellation policy. Some might deduct pay for missed or canceled classes without prior notice. So in my 4th month, when Matt was burnt out and I missed a whole day, 9 to 5, 25-minute classes, I was $800 in the deficit, which means I had to teach for 2 weeks just to make up, because I didn't read that cancellation policy. I didn't see the penalty for missing classes. So when you do sign your contract and when you do look at things, understand what the cancellation policy is. Understand what you are going to be fined for missing those classes. Okay. And then the next part about this is, and I've spoken about this earlier, is feedback. I never knew I had to give feedback after each lesson for each individual student. So it wasn't just teaching a 25-minute class for both Magic Ears and Amazing Talker, it was about having to give the student feedback. So from the company, expect periodic evaluations from the company. They are going to evaluate you, which might involve class observations or reviews of student feedback. So not only are you giving the feedback, but the feedback is coming from the companies and the students. From the students or their parents often leave feedback or rate your performance after each class. Positive feedback can boost your booking rate and may lead to bonuses. And obviously, the negative is true. Negative feedback cuts down on your bonuses, cuts down on when you're going to be booked. Then some companies even ask for self evaluation. Some companies may ask you to provide feedback on students' progress, helping them to improve over time. So, at the end of the day, what I mean there by self evaluation is that some companies might turn around and ask you, how are you coping? Are you happy teaching here? Is this something you want to do? Or and same with students. How do you find this student? Are they on the right level? Are they coping in your classroom? Are they going to maintain aims and outcomes? So always understand that your performance as a teacher, your performance teaching the students is constantly under review. And this is a really, really interesting reality being an online teacher, because nothing prepared me for this. Understanding the difference between a fixed and a freelance company, understanding my schedule, understanding how payments work, understanding how feedback works, understanding how much work do I have to do as a teacher. So these are incredibly critical steps you have to understand after being hired. Okay, so let's take a look at the last point of assessments and progress tracking. You're going to have to give student evaluation. You may need to complete progress reports or evaluations, especially if you're working with young learners. This can include noting areas of improvement, strengths, and homework assignments, quizzes, or tests. Some platforms incorporate formal assessments, but other may rely on your judgment and qualitative feedback to track students' progress. So, yes, whether you're teaching a fixed company or whether you're teaching a freelance company, you need to track your students' progress. And I mentioned this earlier. So, yes, you might go through the day going, I taught from 9 to 5, I made it. But now you've got 20 odd lessons that you are going to give assessment and progress tracking on. Now you're going to go back and have to write a report and everything. So remember, it's not just teaching a lesson. Again, when you get hired by a company, ask them, what do they expect of you in terms of giving assessment and progress tracking for your students? And then the last part is, I suppose I should have started with this, is training and support. Onboarding. You're likely to go through training or onboarding sessions, learning the platform, teaching expectations, and best practices. So you might be fortunate enough to join a company, whether it be Magic Ears or Amazing Talker, whoever you hire, and they take you through all of this. They train you, they prepare you, they explain to you. Or you might get hired by a company who doesn't do this, who says, well, you should have just read your contract, not really interested, everything. So always be prepared. You might not get the training and support, or you might get full on training and support for this. But it's up to you as a teacher when you are hired to make sure you understand it. And then obviously, ongoing support. Many companies provide ongoing professional development or workshops. Some even have mentor systems to guide new teachers. Now, Magic Ears had it. Magic Ears has a university. Amazing Talker had a community of teachers with a head teacher who took you through it. So both those companies had ongoing support. They had community groups, chats. I had a live mentor and magic ears as well. I had someone who looked after me. I had someone who I reported to. So when you are hired, you might have the support or you may not. So when going through this process, read your contract. Make sure, don't just go like I did. Yep, I'm hired and jump on board. And 8 months later, I'm singing Cry Me a River from Justin Timberlake. So these are the things you need to know after you get hired. Okay. So, what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring old Christy up here to the thing, and we're going to talk about tomorrow's paid session, which is preparing for your demo lesson like a professional. Having a company send you material and knowing what to do with it, knowing how to prepare it, knowing how to teach it. Okay. So, Christy, I'm going to hand over to you for tomorrow night.
Yeah, thank you so much, Coach Matt. Yes, creating your profile, your resume, and your introduction video, and all of that is useless if you cannot pass the interview or the demo. So the demo is where they send you the material that they really want to teach. They really want you to teach, and they take popular information or a popular lesson from whatever curriculum they have for their students, and they give it to you to see how well you do. So they chuck you into the deep end and say, there you go, teach. Now you have to impress them. And if you don't, you fail. So then they tell you, thank you so much for applying. We will keep your information on record, etc. Yada, 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 yada. And we will get back to you whenever. And then you can only reapply again in about 3 to 6 months. So they give you these 6 months so that you can go out into the world, gain more experience or learn how to do it again, and then come back and then try again. So in about 6 months, you should have much, much better skills as an online teacher. So you might, the second time around, pass. So we want to try and get you to pass the first time. So submitting your resume, submitting your cover letter and your introduction video is useless if you don't know how to pass this demo. So this demo is very, very important. So we're trying to kind of give you a heads up and prepare you for what's going to happen. Coach Joanne and I have also been working on material that they usually send to you, that they usually give to you. But all of this depends on the company. Some companies give you Wonder Skills. Others give you Let's Go. Some even give you reading material. I know in Inglissimo, for example. Sorry, I've been teaching the whole day. I'm busy losing my voice. Yeah,
Where's
so
your
some
energy? Keep that
yeah,
energy
I've been
going.
screaming at my students today. Wow. Okay, but anyway, so they give you Oxford reading to teach the student reading, and then they expect you to know how to do it because you're the teacher. They're not going to train you. They're not going to show you. That's why they ask for experience. So they chuck you into the deep end. They say, "There's the material. Teach," and then not only do you not have to know how to teach it, but you
Yeah.
have to do classroom management, time management. So you can't end the lesson too early. You can't go over and let's say, for example, on the 25th minute when the demo is finished, you still have 2 or 3 more pages to teach. So that's a problem. If you do that, they'll fail you. So you can be the best teacher ever, but if you go under or over, they'll fail you. You can go under. It's always better to go under. And then let's say, for example, you have 4 or 5 minutes left. You can entertain the student. You can play a game. We did warmers and coolers a while back. I think about 3 weeks back. 3 weeks back. Where's my English? And then you can play a game with your students, entertain them, especially with the interviewer. You can during your demo, you can do an assessment, see what the interviewer is doing, what is he struggling with, because a lot of the interviewers, they have trouble with their English themselves. That's why they do the demos. So if they walk away feeling that you taught them something, they learned something, and the classroom was not only entertaining but fun as well, then you've got a good chance. So we try and show you what to do in your demo lesson. And that's what this lesson tomorrow, or this paid lesson, the training tomorrow, is all about. So Coach Matt, any details you want to share?
You see, the thing is, like I said, like Christy mentioned so well, is that your demo lesson is not about so much about your teaching. The demo lesson, they want to see certain skills, classroom management, time management. You've recognized levels of your learners. You were able to take the material, put it into a lesson structure. So you see, it's not only just about teaching, you're going to have to demonstrate the skills of an ESL teacher, because a lot of teachers will get the material, get the 10 slides, and I'll teach slide 1 from 10. It's not what they want. So that's why it's so vitally important to take all the skills that we've put, apply them into your demo lesson, and step up and say, I'm confident. I'm sorry, the vocabulary you gave me, you said this was an A2 level, but the vocabulary in this demo lesson is too high for that. You must be able to have the courage to stand up and say, okay, you've sent me this material, but I need a couple. What is it that you want from me? Am I teaching a PPP? How about this lesson level is too low? How do I correct my students? You see, what they're wanting you to be is a teacher. They want to see that you have the confidence to ask the questions, you have the confidence to adapt the material, and you have that confidence to say, this is how I teach it.
Mm.
So you see, it's not just a question of them watching you how you teach. It's a question of knowing what you teach and having that courage. So that's why it's so important to step into that demo lesson with confidence, courage, and not be afraid to be a teacher. You see, that's what a teacher is.
A
And
mentor.
that's a mentor.
Yes. Yeah, if you walk into it and you're like, oh, hi, thank you so much. I'm here. I made it. Hello. What do you want me to do? Where should I click? What should I do? Is this the lesson? And then they say, oh, thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye. Come back in 6 months.
To
Oh,
tell you,
no.
to tell you a story about now, if you take Magic Ears, if you look at their hiring requirements, they require 2 years experience with a bachelor's degree and a TEFL. Now, back in the day, this was 10 years ago when I
1943.
have 1937 actually.
Yeah,
So when I
check the
applied for
grade.
Magic Ears, I had 120-hour TEFL. That's all I had. And I applied to them. I did not meet their criteria. Obviously, you find that out in the interview and demo. You know, they don't crush your dreams immediately. And the recruiter stepped back and looked at me at my demo lesson, and he goes, You haven't met any of our criteria in terms of 2 years experience and bachelor's degree, but you blew me away with your video. You blew me away with your demo. You know more about your demo than what most of these qualified teachers with 2 years experience. So just out of my demo, just knowing what I was doing, stepping in with a confidence, I got hired by Magic Ears with 120-hour TEFL degree. I got hired by Magic Ears.
Mm.
And that's exactly the difference Christian and I want you guys to make. They might say bachelor's degree, they might say 2 years experience, but when you do that intro video and you step into that demo, we want you to be more powerful. We want you to be more confident. I landed my Magic Ears job purely from my introduction video and the demo that I taught.
Mm.
And it's as simple as that.
Many companies do that because you see they want a specific quality of teacher to
Yeah.
apply to the positions. So they put their bachelors and so that a teacher with 2 months experience, no bachelors, clicks on the link and sees, oh no, I need a bachelor's to apply to this company. I'm not qualified, so move on. This kind of weeds out teachers who don't have that experience, who don't have that qualifications behind them. But if you can impress them in your demo, they'll waive it. It'll be because they're not going to share your information with other teachers and other people. So it's an agreement between the company and you. You don't have a bachelor's, but you did great in your demo. So come and work for us. They want entertaining teachers. That's the biggest thing, guys. So
So before
okay,
we get started, let's chat about the raffle. I'm just going to stop the share here quickly and
okay. We've
go
also got
share.
a ton of questions too,
We'll get
mostly
through.
from me. Nobody was asking questions, so I kind of just posted questions.
And there we go. Sorry about that. I'm just going to increase the size a little bit. So we've got a raffle. So, Mr. Christian, tell us about the raffle.
Guys, so this is for the practicum course, the complete course. It includes everything that we've got at Teachers Pet. It includes your resume, your cover letter, your introduction video editing, which is very, very important as well. It includes 1 hour training with any of the coaches that we have, any of the trainers or the coaches that we have. It includes all the training within the course as well. So we've got 5 different stages. And then the 6th one is a new one that we added as well. It is the recruiting phase. So what I've been doing lately is on my WhatsApp group, teachers are posting various companies from all over the place. So they're just posting, and then teachers start applying, but they don't know if anything about those companies except for what they see in the ad. Sorry. So we're trying to research these companies. We take specific companies and then we research each company. We get as much information about them as possible, and then we put that into the research companies. So these companies are then added into the course as well. Of course, I do share some of them. Starting next week, I am going to share a few of these companies on the group as well. This way we can protect the teachers as well. But the bulk of the companies will be in the course for teachers who are enrolled. So this course is really, really everything that you need. So we've got this raffle going now because many teachers say that they cannot afford the entire course. So I try to make it a little bit easier for people to afford it as well. So you simply buy a ticket. It's 50 Rand. You can buy it 1 or 2 or 3, it doesn't matter. And then your name gets entered into a draw. And then next week, we'll do a lucky spin. And then the name that it lands on, that person will win everything related to the course. So you'll get access to the course, everything included. Okay, so it's very, very easy. It's very, very straightforward. And the competition or the raffle will be recorded as well, too, so everybody can see what's happening, and so that it's fair, so that everyone can see the names have been added, and the wheel is random, so it's not just close your eyes and draw a name out of a hat thing. Guys, so that is everything to do with the raffle. We still have to work out the editing a little bit. It just kind of says win, 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 win. But yes, we are working on the digital side of it as well, the designing part of it. But I will share a video on it tomorrow, and then teachers can look at it as well. But if you are interested in buying a ticket, you are more than welcome to let me know, and then we can get you sorted. Yes,
Fantastic.
so that's the raffle.
Fantastic. Okay. Sorry, that teacher Matt was also having his glass of water there. My
Yes,
throat
my
a bit
voice is just going away. Wow.
croaky over there. And then obviously we're going to step right now into the Q and
Yeah,
A.
we have to kind of rush through this. We're almost on an hour already. We extended it a little bit. This is supposed to be like half an hour, 40-minute training, and look at where we're
There's
now.
so much information to cover, and Christian and I
Yes.
we plan for half an hour at the most, but we we don't want to be like those YouTube adverts or things that you see where like after like 30 minutes we kick you off. We
To be
want you to walk,
continued.
yeah, we want you to walk out of here feeling, hey, I actually learned something today. Hey, what I felt was valuable,
Mhm.
kind of thing. So let's jump in there. So, as a teacher starting out, would you recommend I apply to a fixed company or a freelance platform, and why? When starting out, my personal opinion, not saying this is right or wrong, I would go for a fixed company that provides you with everything from the lessons, from the students, from the feedback forms, everything, because at the end of the day, it's like any skill you learn. You can't go to university and become a rocket scientist and then say to NASA, you're going to have a certain amount of time in the field. Textbooks, TEFL certificates, whatever it is not going to give you the practical experience that you need. So I would always recommend to spend anything from 2 to 6 months teaching with a fixed company where they give you everything to sharpen those skills, to have a look at how it's done, to learn, to adapt. So that is why I would recommend becoming a fixed teacher. And I think the universe loved me because Magic Ears was my first job. And 6 months in Magic Ears, actually, although Amazing Talker threw me in the deep end, Magic Ears actually really prepared me in everything that I needed.
Mm. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's kind of like a step. So you start with a company that provides the students. You gain that confidence. You gain that mentorship. Where you start a lesson and go, "Hi, my name is," and then you've just got that confidence. It's just kind of vibrating out of you. And then after that, you can go to Amazing Talker, for example, like platforms like LiveXP. Okay, LiveXP is not the best one, but anyway, it's still a platform. It's still they still have students, so you can move on to Amazing Talker, LiveXP, etc. And then after that, you can go independent. You can become an independent tutor. Then that kind of teaches you how to manage your own students, create their own curriculums, etc. So you can go step by step. Because eventually, after about 5 to 10 years, the companies won't be able to match your teaching salary anymore. So you're going to be aiming for $20, $25, but the companies won't be able to offer you that. So you're either going to have to settle for it or go independent. One of the two.
One of the two,
Guy,
yeah.
Guy,
So
Shanae
next
asked,
question, how do the penalties work? Is it only when you can't make class? Will the company accept a valid reason like a doctor's appointment? Do you need proof of the appointment? So you see, that is very, very unique. And Shanae, that's a brilliant question. That's where I burnt my bridges every single time. Is that your first step is to understand the schedule. When they provide you with a schedule and you have to book, ask them how frequently you can change that schedule. Magic Ears allowed you to do day by day, week by week. Amazing Talker was set in stone. You couldn't change it. So, yes, they do accept valid excuses like doctor's appointments, but they require anything from 24 hours to 48 hours notice. You see, the problem that comes in here now, let's say I've got a class scheduled at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got 4 students in there, 20 to 3. I'm like, I can't do this. The company now has to run around and try find a substitute teacher. So look at their notice period. Okay. So if you knew, like let's say Monday morning, I wake up and I'm teaching. By Monday afternoon, I reckon I'm going to the doctor. Monday afternoon, I'm giving 24 hours notice or 48 hours notice for my classes. They probably will be very understanding with that if you can prove it, but they don't want teachers who like my lessons at 3 o'clock and 10 to 3 are, I'm not there.
sorry, I'm not interested anymore.
Because
Yeah,
now they have to refund those kids and parents their money. So understand it from the company side. They kind of need time to find someone who can stand in. Now, Magic Ears and Amazing Talker, when I did my schedules and I left my open times, they were willing to pay me double the price as a stand-in teacher, meaning I just sat there. If the teacher didn't arrive, boom, I went in. So yes, I sat there for like an hour or two and the teachers arrived and everything. But when the teachers didn't arrive, I got double my paycheck for that. So always look at it from that perspective. Look at it from the company's perspective. If you get to a point where it's been a week, 2 weeks, a month, and you're tired, rather reach out to the company and say, hey, I kind of messed up my schedule. I kind of really overbooked myself now. I don't want to miss classes. I don't want to cry myself to sleep singing Justin Timberlake before I log in and skip this class. So always look at the company's contract and what they say about that.
Okay. Okay. Next one. Okay. If I decided to apply to a freelance platform, which pay rate do you think I should start with?
And it continues to say, I can only teach on weekends part-time. Should
Okay.
I apply to a company or platform? How
Okay,
does
so that
lead
was a
work?
second question. So you actually kind of answered that one. The second question, I can only teach on weekends or part-time. Should I apply to a company or a platform?
Now, you see, the
Okay,
thing
so
is, at
I've
the
got
end,
new teacher.
you've got to ask yourself the question, you earn dollars per hour. That is the reality of it. If you want to earn $10,000 a month, you're going to be teaching Monday to Friday, 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 24 hours around the clock. It's what you're going to be doing. So if you want to do this part-time, then you are subsidizing an income. So I earn X amount of money a month from my mainstream job. I need an extra X amount of money on weekends. Again, work your time out according to your hourly rate and work your way around that.
Also with the companies, what we've noticed, so if you want to work morning hours from let's say 4 a.m. till about 11 a.m., look at Vietnamese companies. If you want to teach between 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., look at Chinese companies. And then after hours, you look at European companies.
Yeah.
So we at Teachers Pet, we are in the process of researching more companies. We've done Chinese companies now already and European companies. Next week, we're going to get Vietnamese companies, and then the week after that, Korean companies. So we want to try and provide teachers with all hours so that you can choose morning, afternoon, evening, after hours, whatever you want. That way you can apply to companies knowing what their peak hours are. So the peak hours we spoke about earlier,
Oh,
so
yes.
that you know when to book. Yes. Guy. So,
Is it
sorry, just
advisable
that
to work?
question.
Is it advisable to work across multiple platforms? If so, what's the recommended amounts of companies to work for simultaneously? At the end of the day, we're going to go back to schedule. You can work for 20 companies if you want. But at the end of the day, how many hours are you willing to work? How many hours can you work? Some companies actually don't allow it.
Mm,
In their contract states that you will work. Magic is actually. Magic is if they found out I was teaching for another company, they would null and void my contract. So read your
mm,
contract very carefully. Because you see, the biggest thing at the end of the day, and I've coached a lot of solo teachers, becoming solo entrepreneurs, starting their own business and everything. The companies are scared you are stealing students and material. So you might have that clause stating that you work for Magic Ears, and Magic Ears is the only online company that you work for. If in that contract it doesn't stipulate that, work for 30 companies, but it boils back down to the point, how many hours are you able to teach without burning
mm.
yourself out? So, point number one, check your contract. Point number two, how many hours can you work?
I actually had a teacher who applied to a company that I recruited for. She was currently working for another Chinese company, and she applied. She did the demo. She was very, very impressive, and they hired her. They sent her the contract, everything. And then she didn't know that her current company's boss was playing golf with the new company that she was applying to's owner. So the two were buddies, and somehow she was a topic of discussion. And then it came out that she applied to this one company, and then she resigned to the other company because now this new company is paying more, and she ended up losing both.
Yeah,
So be careful.
be
Um,
careful.
you walk away from the one, the new company that you're applying to, you can give notice to the old company. The new company, if they don't understand, then yeah, it's not a good company to work for. But you can give notice to the other company. Don't tell them who you are applying to, or that you got hired by a better company and better rates and better management and whatever. Don't do that. Simply just thank you so much, but you do not match my needs anymore. I am moving on to another company. Thank you. Goodbye.
Like I say, if you ever get asked the question in an interview, why did you leave your previous company? Just say, I'm looking for a new challenge. It's the
That's it.
golden rule of life. You never ever badmouth anyone
Yes.
because karma will get you back. It will.
Yes. You never
So never
know.
speak badly about a company. It is, and being a consciousness coach, I mean, I teach mental powers and all that. Always remember one thing: it's your energy. When you're going to speak negatively about a company, the negative energy is going to come back to you. It is what it is. I'm looking for a challenge. I'm looking to upgrade myself. Never badmouth anyone, especially like Christy said, especially in this industry. You probably find there's 3 or 4 schools and there's 3 people in the same office running all 3 of those schools.
Yes.
Downplay one, you are going to burn bridges.
They did say that there's a blacklist. When I started online teaching, someone said something about a blacklist, that you are put on a blacklist, and then all the Chinese companies, for example, can see the names. I'm not sure if that was a like an urban legend type of thing just to scare everyone, but they talk. This
The problem
company
is
talks to that one. This one talks to that one.
the problem is at the end of the day, and this is a piece of advice that comes from Coach Matt, 12 years in this industry, being a recruiter, job coach, working for i2i, Premier TEFL. This is the most epic truth that you'll ever come across in your entire life. Do not treat this like a hustle or a side hustle. This is a job. Just like you would wake up every morning and go to work, the more professional you are, just because you sit in a laptop, just because, like, being a guy and I don't have to wear pants, only this part of me has to look good, doesn't mean this is any less of a job. Doesn't mean this is any less of me having to rock up to an interview for whatever job is out there. Treat this like a real job, and the dollars will come in, not the rands, the dollars will. So be professional and treat every company, every interview, every demo lesson like you are going to climb in the car and go to the job interview that's going to pay your rent.
Yes. Okay, and then what are some companies you advise against working for? We can't really name company names. This is going on YouTube, so can't really do that. But I do have a red flag uh, 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 spread. What do you call it? Spreadsheet. So I do have a spreadsheet with a whole bunch of company names. If you go into my community group, in the description, just click on there, go to the bottom. There's a red flag companies. Just click on that one. I have been adding more and more companies there. So I didn't name it scam companies because it's difficult to prove a scam, but red flag companies. Some don't pay. Some tell you, oh, we're going to pay you next month, but we've got some banking issues and whatnot. And the next month come, oh, well, we've got the banking sorted out now, but now management has a problem. Well, next month. So those types of companies, stuff like that. There is a list there that you can go and check. If you have worked for a company like this, please let me know and then I can add it. But don't give it if the company, they hurt your feelings or something like that. Something no, not small, but like that. Something big. They didn't pay you. They were not only rude, but one of the teachers said they were cursing at her as well. Stuff like that. Terrible, terrible things that we can add to that list, and then we can kind of warn other teachers about it. Okay, and then um, can I start out doing this part-time and eventually move to doing it full-time? Yes.
Scheduling, whatever your schedule is, whatever your income need is, whether, but my advice would be, and I'm going to say this really, really honestly because I burnt my bridges on this. If you have a job and you've got income and you're wanting to start this, do not quit your job and do this. I
I
did it.
had that today.
I did it. I did
I
it,
had
and
that
I
today.
failed
Mm.
dismally. Rather keep it and go part-time. Rather, because like I said, it's gonna with a payment structure, it sometimes might take a month or two before they pay you. Sometimes when you open that schedule, because you're a new teacher, your bookings might not fill up. You might open up those slots going, I can teach, but how many lessons you're going to be booked for might not. So give it time. If you want it part-time and you're looking for an extra random 3,000 odd rand a month, keep it part-time. When it starts building and building, then turn around and say, and trust me, I speak from experience. I've done it, I've lost, um I think I was teaching off my mobile phone. I think it was a Samsung A20 because it's the cheapest thing I could buy from Cash Crusaders because I lost my job and now I had to teach. So always remember, it is a decision of practicality. It's a reality. Like I'm gonna
Mm.
win the lotto. No, I might win the lotto, but let me keep my job until I do. When I win the
Yes.
lotto, then I quit my job. Not quit
Yes.
my job and I'm gonna play lotto. So that's the advice I give you.
Okay. And then, okay, do you have any advice for handling bigger classes? Some companies have to have up to 12 students per class. I actually sent you a message on this one. Maybe we can do this in the future as well, do a session on this as well, group classes, how to teach it. I
We
think that
can,
would
we
be interesting.
But you see, the thing is, at the end of the day, again, read your contract. Like Magic Ears, I thought it was going to be one-on-one, and then I hit my first class in Magic Ears and I had 4 kids. The next one was
Yes.
6. I'm like, oh my word, how do I do this? But then again, read the contract. You've got your onboarding, you've got your support, you've got your. I should have actually done that. And again, it's preference. Some people say they love one-on-one. Me personally, I prefer groups of 12. It's much easier than one-on-one. But then I've
No.
got teachers who go, no ways, I wouldn't touch a group of 4. I love my one-on-one. So just
Yes.
be careful of who you are. Understand your niche, understand your capability.
I actually spoke to a company the other day who I wanted to recruit for, but decided against. So what they basically do is they pay you, let's say $8 per hour, one-on-one. And if you do group classes, you still get paid $8. So you get group classes between 1 and 12 students.
Good
So
point.
you get paid $8 per hour. It doesn't matter if you got 2 students or 12. Now, this is a little bit what is the word? Exploitive, in my opinion, because now they charge the students, let's say, for example, $20 per student, 10 students, they make $200. You still make your $8. So this is this doesn't
When you
work for
teach
me.
one to 12, you're still getting the same rate. Be
You're still
careful of
getting the same rate whether you teach 1 student or 12. So don't fall for that. So when the company told me that, I said, thank you, but no, I'm not going to do this because if you're going to put more students in one group, then you have to pay the teacher more. This way, the teacher can then choose if they want to do one-on-one, two-on-two, two-on-four, or one-on-four, whatever. Then you can pay them more depending on the amount of students they get.
No, true, true,
Guy,
true. Sorry, I stopped my
yes.
video there. Just had to have a sip of my water because I'm sounding a croaky like Christian myself are. And the next question I'm going to read is: how can we navigate racism in the industry? A lot of schools based in Asia prefer teachers with ignorance. Now, how do I put this? And this is my opinion, and you can shoot me down for it, you can judge me for it, but at the end of the day, it's not racist. It's when teaching kids, you have to respect. You have to respect what they're going to learn. And what I'm going to say to you right now is going to sound really strange, but if being Afrikaans, Matthys Johannes Taljaard, heeltemal gebore, dood Afrikaans. If I had to be an English teacher who was not proficient, who couldn't pronounce, who had their tenses wrong, it's not racism. It's that companies expect a proficiency. Companies expect a neutrality. They expect that if my student cannot pronounce a word, I, as a teacher, should be able to. And that is the power that I taught you. And that's why we speak about accent training, neutral, British, American. You're going to have to learn that you are the teacher. There's no such thing as racism in teaching. There isn't. There is a teacher who is capable or a teacher who is incapable. And that's the questions we kind of answered earlier. Are you willing to work full time? Do you know what your niche is? Where are your strengths and weaknesses? Where is your confidence? Because at the end of the day, and I'm going to say it honestly to all of you, there's been a teacher in your life who's absolutely built your life. And there's been a teacher in your life who's absolutely destroyed your life. What teacher do you want to be? Where do you want to stand on this? Now, out of the 12 years I've been in the industry, yes, I've been called a non-native, I've been called a native speaker. I've had to say it honestly, pretend I'm American, I've had to pretend I'm British at the end of the day. And all that company wants to know is that if they put a student in your hands and they cannot pronounce a word or they cannot say a word, you have the courage to stand up and do it. Worcestershire, Worcestershire. So if I
There,
want you to pronounce that, have you got the confidence to say it? So racism, whether we look at it in any way possible, it boils down to the confidence that you are a teacher, because the reason why you do this is because same as with why Christian and I do what we're doing. We want to make a difference. We want to teach confidence. We stand for greatness. And I share this with you openly and honestly. In the beginning, I just wanted to lie on a beach and look at palm trees and earn dollars. Now I learned I could make a difference. I could. So that's why we provide accent training, we provide proficiency training, why we look at it, because at the end of the day, you have the ability to change the world. You have the ability to make a difference in a student's life.
there actually a while back I did speak to a teacher who applied to a company. She managed to get in, and then they asked her to apply more makeup. So she was a dark-skinned teacher, and they asked her to put lighter makeup on. She must always wear makeup. They never wanted to see her without makeup. And then she asked me about this. So it's not like it's racism is dead. It is there. If you do find a company like this, just move on, because you're not never going to live up to their expectations. And why would you want to in the first place? So if you find a company like this, if you apply and they shoot you down, awesome, move on. So there might be a reason why you got denied. You don't know if it's your skills or any other reason. So if you get denied, take it as a stepping stone, move on. If you get to a company where they ask you to put more makeup or be someone who you're not, move on. Don't to tell them thank you so much, but no thank you. There are other companies who won't expect you to do this. So there are other companies. It's difficult to find them, I know, and I am sorry I can't provide a list of these companies. Also, we don't want to name names, so find a company that works for you that won't expect you to do these things. Okay, so I think
I
that's
think
all the questions.
yeah. And from Christian myself, at the end of the day, remember, you are the teacher. You are. It's not the company you work for. It's the difference you're gonna make in an adult young learner's life. It's the passion you have to do what you do.
Mm.
And like Christian said, hey, I have to shave my beard, cut my hair, and change my accent. Maybe it's not the company for me.
No, if well, to stay clean, obviously it is to a professional and
Wear
everything,
shoes.
yes, but to
Talking
put
about
on
yeah.
makeup, I mean, why would you No, that type of company, you don't want to work for a company like that because you're never going to meet their expectations. You're going to
Yeah.
they keep on complaining about something. They're always going to find something to complain about. There's one more. If you are a Muslim, which country are the best to apply? This is difficult. I had this question the other day as well. The teacher, I'm not sure what you call it, but she had um, it was a religious thing. Everything was covered except for her eyes. So she was scared that she was going to scare off students. So the advice I gave her is that is difficult because especially with Chinese companies, so you want to look at companies in your region in who understand your religion. So um, if you have to wear something specific because of your religion and other countries won't understand, it's best to look at your own country and find students in your own country to teach. Ones who will understand your religion so they won't feel scared or what would be the word? Not offended, scared to have a
Look,
lesson with you.
we have the cultural sensitivity, which we do teach from
Yes.
China, Japan, and now being Muslim. What I encourage you to do is do what you do best. If the company turns you down, like we said earlier, it wasn't meant to be. But have you tried your local market? Now, a lot of solo teachers or solopreneurs that I teach, I always encourage them to start locally, go to their local schools now and say, hey, can I be a tutor? Can I be a mentor? Can I work online for kids who need help with homework? Remember, at the end of the day, you are who you are, and the market will always be there. Just because you're jumping into a pool where you don't think your market is, doesn't mean you don't have a market. You can do whatever you
Mm.
want to do. And at the end of the day, as Chris and I have taught many years, every person deserves respect. Don't jump into a market where you feel disrespected.
Mm.
Walk away from that. Walk
Rather
into a
walk
market
away.
where
You're
you
not
feel
going to like it.
respected because you are a great teacher, as is every person here. We are all unique in everything that we are. And it doesn't mean a company can define that for you.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, the market that you're looking for will always be there.
You just have to look for it.
Go for it. And
That's
yeah,
it. So, mm, yes,
yeah,
okay. So, I think we have one more. We can skip the slide. I think that's it. We are now officially 1 hour and 1.5 hours. This
it
is
was
the
a good
first.
session. And all the
Yes.
teachers
So,
stayed, and that was a good session.
half an hour training session turned into an hour and a half. Well done, guy.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Okay, but yes, so much information shared. So all of this information will go on YouTube. If you want to go and watch previous videos that we did, it is there on YouTube. I spoke to a lady today who is going to help me with YouTube to try and monetize it a little bit more, put certain keywords in there so that we can find more teachers because that YouTube algorithm is tricky. So she's going to help us to find more teachers to view the training as well. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Tomorrow, paid training. Next week, Wednesday, free training again. So if you are interested, please, you've got me on WhatsApp. There's Book Now as well. If you want to have a lesson with Coach Matt, we are always here for you. So
We
thank you
are.
so
We
much
thank
for
you.
joining us, everyone.